Another week, another brilliant episode of Andor has dropped, and oh my god, this was so emotionally satisfying, so riveting, and then we had some really heartbreaking, powerful monologues, or just little moments for all our big main characters. Mon Mothma had one of her most tragic, intense moments. Papa Skarsgard had his big old, this is my monologue, and oh, I've sacrificed all the things, you know, just like, oh, he's just chewing the scenery, but in like a really realistic way. This really, I say this every week, but this is just a HBO show, but also Star Wars show, and I don't know how they've done it. But before we get into all that good, tasty, politicky stuff or whatever, Prison Break episode, baby! Oh yeah! Or should I say, Snoke Break, baby? The Snoke Shank Redemption, the Snoke Mile, Snoke Run, oh Snoke, we're out there. Escape from Snokatraz, So once again, the star of the show is Andy Serkis, who's playing character name, but I'm not really worried about that character name because he's obviously young, sexy Snoke. The Prison Break itself was riveting, exciting, and just so emotionally, like, heartwarming in this really exciting way. Like, just such a great fist bump moment of all these people just running and flooding through the big prison. And there was some really clever moments of, like, making you not, like, understand and, like, sympathize with, but the guards, like, have been cruel and sadistic, but they are just people. They're not psychopaths and monsters, or some of them are, but there's that really great shot where all the guards are just hiding. Like, they're not like, oh yeah, we'll get them. They're just like, oh, it's out of our control. And they're hiding, and it's really cowardly, and it's just a fantastic little moment to go, hey, yeah, these guys might suck, but they are still human. The casting of the two guards who are doing the big robot speech, you know, I am the prison guard program or whatever. It's just like the most normal looking dude ever. He's just like some guy. You couldn't have cast someone more ordinary. And I think that just works really, really well to kind of flesh out the world and make it just feel truly real. And then we just have some fun old action where people are running through corridors and they're all like, bang, 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 bang. And I just, oh, it's never felt more Star Wars, but also a prison escape movie. And it feels really real. Like every single character who is escaping, I'm like, they're gonna die. They're all gonna die. We're gonna get a Rogue One again, like at the end of episode 6. This is the end of the next 3-episode arc. They're all gonna die. And it had such rich tension, because it wasn't like, oh, a Vader will come, oh, this big evil prison guard will come. It's like, no, just one of the guards might just shoot them all. Because it's just, that's this kind of show. And it's just, I don't know, there was a real intense tension there. And then when they all get to the edge, and you see they've got to drop off this cliff, and there's an ocean for miles and miles. It's just like, oh, they're stuck, they're trapped. But no, they're all just like, actually, I can swim. This is really lucky. I was an Olympic swimmer, and even though I'm completely malnourished and haven't been eating properly, I'm gonna swim and make this distance. They're not. That's insane and madness. And at the end, we see Andor and the other guy. They're doing their little run through the whatever, and it's like, the distance they had to swim is insanity and madness. And I have to presume the reason we didn't see more, you know, prisoners is because they all drowned. Because you can't swim 20 miles when you're malnourished and you've been working hard in a prison for like years. Or if that's too grim, you can just imagine they're all resting on the beach having a delicious martini, and there was a nice cocktail bar there, and you know, the sunbathing or something. But I'm a bit more of a realist. They all drowned and died because the distance was just so far. I would have literally got like 500 meters in the water. I would have been like, I can swim, but like, not that far. That's madness. Has anyone actually tried to swim like a very long distance in the water? After a while, you're just lying there being like, I'd rather drown than keep swimming. But also, I've never been in prison and never had that need to escape. And it might be that kind of thing where the mum picks up the car and saves the baby. You know, just that kind of Hulk strength that comes from desperation and that want to survive. Because when I did it, I was just like, I'm lazy. I'm just going to go to the side of the pool and stop swimming. Last week, I found myself fascinated by the idea to make young, sexy Snoke the bad guy, but then turn him into like this redemption arc. And then I'm just waiting for that redemption arc to kind of fold back around and to see that darker side of him again. And we saw that throughout this episode, and it was so exciting. I'm a little surprised we didn't get like a scar cut. One of the guards didn't attack him or cut him or something like that, but I guess they want to save that for one of our heroes to do. Money's still on Andor, because that just makes the most sense, because the show's called Andor. The pain and the anger and the desperation and just the fury that Andy Serkis is bringing to young, sexy Snoke is just so exciting. He has such a gravitas to his character. It's magnetic, and that moment when they're running through and there's just so much going on and they get to the end, and I'm like, I'm really fascinated to see how this is going to end. Like, I thought they might do something like during the escape to kind of push him back into the darker side of, you know, his inner being that will lead one day to young sexy Snoke being old sexy scarred Snoke that likes gold robes. And it comes at the most heartbreaking time when they're all jumping off and they're all like, swim for freedom! It's a whole Snoke chicken run escape situation. And then he's like, I can't swim. Dude, you're like 40. Why haven't you learned to swim? I couldn't have in a million years thought of something so tragic and heartbreaking where he essentially leads the escape of the prison, but then when they get to the edge, every single one can swim, and he can't swim. He's like, I can't jump down there. And that look of heartbreak and devastation as he's going to be left behind, the only one left behind, it broke my heart, but I'm not surprised, and it makes perfect sense to kind of lead him back around to the dark side to become young sexy Snoke. Other fun little Snoke theories I have is the intercom scene felt like it might be the first time that he's got kind of a taste for control and kind of a bigger scale. Like in the other episodes, he has been controlling the work, like the you know, the work people on the ground. He's like, I'm in control here. He's got a little bit taste of that manager power, and it's, you know, slightly going to his head, but he's in prison, so he never thought it could expand. But now he controlled the whole prison. He got them all to riot, and he's suddenly starting to realize what that power feels like, what that control over people feels like, and one day it will lead to the galaxy, to the world, and the First Order. Andor is all about those little baby steps, and I find this transition and this idea to take Snoke in this direction so fascinating and so different to what I think most people would presume his origin story would like feel like. So how will Palpatine and young sexy Snoke meet? Well, he's stuck on the prison, and it's such a big prison break. You have to imagine that maybe this is the first time Palpatine is going to get his hands dirty with this little rebellion stuff going. So he goes to the prison, he's going to kill all the guards because they let everything happen, and he sees one prisoner left, and he's like, oh, this guy could potentially be put in a jar, soaked, made long, maybe introduce him to some deliciously beautiful golden robes, get his fashion senses more aligned with mine. I like to think that when Palpatine's alone, like sitting on his bed watching TV, he's wearing a big golden robe, because it just, I mean, who wouldn't? If I had the money for a giant big golden robe, I'd be wearing that all day. Although I don't really see us seeing Palpatine in Andor, so maybe there's like an executive like decision to like flood all the prison and just like, you know, send it into the ocean. And then somehow young sexy Snoke is like trying to escape, so he gets into like some kind of pod tube thing, and he sticks in there and it closes, but actually it's a testing tube for cloning or something. That seems like a bit of a stretch, but I can still see something like that happening. At this point, it is something that is really, really intriguing me and fascinating me about the show. Like, I never thought Andor would have secret origin stories for Snoke. That's just madness and crazy. I thought this was just going to be an origin for the rebellion, but an origin for things that's going to be so much further than the original trilogy. It's really clever and interesting because so much of the show is so richly and flavorsomely like the original trilogy. It has such a great vibe and aesthetic, and everything feels so like, yes, this is right before A New Hope, but also cheeky little things for sequel trilogy. It makes the world feel so expansive and grand and just delicious. And whilst I am super glad that Andy Serkis didn't die in the end of this episode or during this episode, I'm a little surprised because I thought maybe something to do with Snoke would come to do with like resurrection, because, you know, dark powers, Sith powers, or what, I'm misquoting, but it's dark science, evil magic, something Palpatine returned, or whatever they said. I would love to check that, so I'm doing the perfect quote, and you're like, haha, he's quoting the thing from the thing that's bad. But honestly, I'm not going to rewatch it to know exactly what it is. It's some dark science, dark magic, evil powers, something. God damn it, how dare they ruin Mary / Charlie from Lost. And it makes me so angry. It's him saying those lines. It's just, I'm never going to get over that. I feel like it's tainted my love for Mary / Charlie from Lost. It's just, Or should I feel happy that he got paid to do something so stupid? Because if I got paid to say something so stupid, I bring it up at every dinner party. I'd be like, guys, did you know, like, I'm paying for this whole meal because I said this line in a Star Wars movie? They paid me an outrageous sum of money. You know what? I'll come back around. That's awesome. It's good for him. Oh, I love that man. That's good. So this week, Mon Mothma meets Slimebag Fancy Pants character man guy, the criminal boy or something, and he's all like, oh, money means nothing to me. You're gonna have to owe me something. And she's like, what? Just let's get it out with. And he's like, my son, your daughter, let's do a bit of a Game of Thrones far too early youngness, but marriage pact. And it's, I didn't think the show was going to go kind of in this direction. Like, I know it's being politically dense and intense and, you know, like thoroughly engaging on that level, But this is like a different kind of political kind of thing. Like, it feels more, you know, medieval and Game of Thronesy, and it's just like really upsetting. I don't know, maybe it's because they're all wearing fancy pants suits and it feels like it's in the future. It's like, oh, that's, and he does say, oh, it's a bit of a traditional marriage situation we had in our planet, and I understand each planet's at a different stage, but I feel like people making these arrangements on Coruscant, I don't know, something about that really upset me. And then we get one of the best Mon Mothma moments where it just like focuses in on her face, and I love it because he's like, hey, you're not thinking about this marriage pact as like a potential is the only lie you've said all day. And that just broke me, because it's like, he doesn't even know, or maybe he does secretly know, that this is for the rebellion. So it's like, yeah, she will consider this. I don't think she'll go through with it, but it is really fascinating to be like, what is this rebellion worth? What is this rebellion worth to all these people who have sacrificed so much for the rebellion? Like, is she going to sacrifice her daughter's life and marriage pact to some, presumably a douchebag kid? Like, he's the son of this guy. He sucks, presumably. I think that was kind of implied. And I think that theme carried over really interestingly with bloody Papa Skarsgard. He has the whole, I have sacrificed, what have I sacrificed? I have sacrificed everything. And he just does the best speech ever. He's wearing really ominous black clothing. The lighting's really scary. I really thought he was just going to kill the spy. We find out the spy is tweedly red-headed mustache boy Lenny, something like that. Yeah, L-Boy, let's call him L-Boy, Spy L-Boy, and he's all like, ooh, I don't want to be a spy anymore, because I have a son, and I didn't realize, but actually, I love him. Oh, that's sweet and nice, but you're a spy in the Empire for the rebellion. You were so close to dying. You're just lucky they need you so badly they didn't kill you on the spot. Like, that was a dangerous thing for him to say and do, and that really, that made me nervous. I like how they're making Papa Skarsgard just, yeah, no, like, not a nice man. And he says, I'm not a nice man. I have to be evil like the evil guys and sacrifice my future for maybe a future, maybe hopefully someone else can live. And it's really great. And he's also sacrificing Kruger in this whole situation. They've made these characters feel so real and so true, and I can feel their pain and their heartbreak and just the tension and fear with everybody. It's like, you can't trust anybody, but you've got to trust some people. I don't know, it's just, yeah, this show is just literally the best thing on TV right now, and I kind of can't believe it. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment below. I would love to know all your Snoke theories. And if you don't believe he's Snoke, what show are you watching?